If you're lucky enough to have central air conditioning, you want to make sure that you take good care of it so it's around a long time. Now, last year I released this video that was designed to help a homeowner improve their central air conditioning. Now, with over 1 million views and a lot of positive feedback, I know the video worked for so many people. But I got a ton of comments asking for even more, and the request was to make a second video that showed a more in-depth way to clean your outside air conditioner. So in this video, I'm going to show you how a professional would clean your outside air conditioning condenser just like they would, but in a way that you can do it yourself. So watch this video and I'll show you how to get this job done. Here's a typical central air conditioning unit. Now this is called a condenser, and it's going to be the piece of the AC that is outside your house. Now these are going to vary manufacturer to manufacturer, but for the most part maintaining them is pretty much the same. So in this video I'll show you how I do this one, and you can try to apply to your own unit, but you're going to find that it's mostly the same. Now this thing might look pretty good to you, but this is actually made in 2001 and it's getting close to 20 years old. And the secret to why it's lasted so long is because I maintain it just like I'm going to show you in the video. So enough talking, let's get started. Now I recommend changing your thermostat so that the air conditioner shuts off, but that's not enough. You want to find your service disconnect, something like this, where you can switch it off to make sure that the power is completely off. If you're in doubt, go in your house and use your main breaker or find the breaker for your air conditioner and make sure it's off. Most cleaning just requires the fan part of this unit to come off, and that's accomplished by taking these top screws out. You'll be surprised that these fans are generally only held in place with 2 or 4 screws. So we're going to unscrew these, and then we need to check in the back to see there might be a couple of other screws that we need to take out. But I don't generally recommend taking the side units off unless you really know that your unit is so dirty that you have to get to every bit of it. This is going to work in most cases. As you take each of these screws out, take care to not lose them. You can certainly get replacements, but it's easier to just keep them together. Now when you go to take the fan off, you might find that you can't just lift it off. It's very common on air conditioners that the sheet metal kind of overlaps onto one another. So in this case, I just have to remove the rear panel first, and then the fan can lift straight out. Now once you start to lift the fan off, you're going to notice that there's cables attached for the power. You do not have to disconnect them. Most units have enough slack so that you can fold the fan over to keep it in place while you clean the unit. Because what you're trying to get to is the piece that the fan is cooling, and that's called your coil, and that's inside the opening that you can see there. Now when you look inside the unit, the first thing you want to do before you break out a hose is to clean anything out like this. There's going to be lots of leaves, pine needles, and here you can even see that I've got some rocks. And if you're wondering how those got in there, I'm sure that my kids shoved them through the top of the unit, which is obviously not what you want, but it's important to get that stuff out. So you can either reach in, or in my case, I actually brought a portable shop vac over. I'm going to vacuum some of that dust out. Now this is not bad at all. Don't freak out if when you open your unit you have a ton of stuff in there. That's the good part, because if you're cleaning it, just take it all out and dispose of it so that you get the bulk of the material out. Now we're going to clean our coil, and using this product makes it a lot easier. This is a simple disposable can of coil cleaner. I'll have links in the description for one you can use yourself, but you can sometimes find this locally. And all you need to do is spray this. I recommend starting at the top and work your way to the bottom. The goal isn't to just spray this on the surface. You want to try to get this to go into the coil. And you can see there that the coil itself is getting saturated. Now a couple of cautions: do not touch the coil at all. Don't use your hands, don't touch it with the can, because it's made up of little fins and they can bend really easily and you can damage them. So it's fine to work in here like I am. You just don't want to touch the sides of the inside of this air conditioning unit. So take your time, because you want to make sure that you get as many surfaces as possible. You don't really need to spray it on the bottom or the top. You just want to hit the coil itself, which is the walls of the unit. Keep spraying it. I recommend using the whole can for one unit, and it goes a pretty long way, and it's going to slowly soak into the sides because that foaming action is going to lift the dirt off, and it's the kind of product that's designed specifically to clean these coils to help you get the dirt and debris out of there. This is exactly what it should look like when you're done. You want that foam to work its way into the coil because it's going to help get the dirt out of there. Now this says to leave it for several minutes, and I usually will let it set for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now this one also says that you don't have to rinse the foam off. I never follow that, and I highly recommend that you always rinse the foam regardless. It's kind of like those hand cleaners that don't require you to wash it off. It just does not work as well. So take a regular garden hose and set it to some type of a stream, nothing too crazy, and you want to spend several minutes washing all that foam off. If you've never cleaned your unit or it's been years, you're going to be surprised by how much stuff comes out. You're going to see lots of dirt and debris, and even if you don't see much, you can be certain that stuff is coming out of that coil because these suck air in, and that means that they're going to pull dirt in as well. So by cleaning it like this, especially with the hose, you're pushing everything out. All of the coil is completely waterproof. It's designed to be cleaned this way, and nothing I'm showing you here is against most manufacturers' recommendations. You never want to spray water though on the fan or on any of the electrical components. The coil is designed to get this kind of moisture. Now remember, this thing is almost 20 years old and that coil's looking really good, and that's because I clean this unit usually every 2 to 3 years this way, and it's just held up great. So doing this can either revive your system, or if you've got a newer system, help it stay around for a long time. And with the price of a central air conditioner, this is really cheap insurance. When the foam's pretty much dissipated by spraying from the inside, I still like to spray from the outside in when I'm all done. I find that it releases a little bit more foam, and that tells me that I'm getting a little bit more dirt and some soap out of the unit. And all we've got to do is close it up. So that just means we're going to reverse the steps, and we're going to start by folding the fan back into position. You want to take care to make sure that the electrical wire isn't kinked and that everything is going together pretty smoothly. It might take a little bit of effort to seat the fan back in position, but that's okay. As long as you're not overly forcing anything, most of the components are just going to go right back into place like you see here. And since the back cover had come off first, we're going to put it back on last, and that allows all the metal components to go right back how they were. And now they're all in place. I'm just kind of pushing them down to make sure that everything's settled in and it feels like it's assembled correctly. All we've got to do is just replace the screws. And you don't have to wait for anything to dry. Again, the unit's designed to be wet. So now we can just restore the power and then turn our thermostat back up and make sure that everything in the unit is working properly again. So that's it. It just took a few minutes. The central air conditioner is spotless and it's ready to go for at least another year to 2 years. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and comment below. And I just want to say thanks for watching my videos. It means a lot to me, and I hope it gives you some great information to save you some time and money.